Hello everyone and welcome back to Slick Ride's Garage. Today we're going to be reconditioning the hood on my Cub Cadet LGTX1054 garden tractor. Okay, so as you can see, I have the black trim and the headlights and everything tore out of the hood. You notice how it's really dingy looking? It's a little shiny up here, and that's because late last year I tried another reconditioning method on that. I just wasn't satisfied with it. You can see how it used to shine right there and now how it barely shines at all. I've already experimented with it and found a method that I think works pretty good. The first step is going to be wet sanding it. I have 800 grit sandpaper right here. That's 1200, that's 2000, and that's 2500. So what I'll do is on the areas that are super bad, I'm going to use the 800 grit sandpaper. On the areas that aren't so bad, I'm going to start with 1200. Now there's some important keys to success here in order to make this work. First of all, only use the lowest count sandpaper that you need to get the job done. In other words, don't start with 400 or 600. That's too rough. What that will do is it'll put a lot of scratches into the plastic, and then you'll be wet sanding on the thing forever in order to get those scratches back out. So I'll start up here in this section first with the 800. Probably when I get down here to this part, I'll go with the 1200. We'll sand it all out and then step up to the 2000, sand it, and then step up to 2500 and sand it. Only sand it for just as long as you have to. And make sure that when you step up to your next grit, that you have all of your sanding scratches out of the plastic before you move on to the next grit. And one last key to success, we have that decal right there. And we want to make darn sure not to run the sandpaper across that. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so I went ahead and wet my sandpaper down here, guys. As you can see, I'm using a sanding sponge in there. So the reason I'm using that sponge is so it evenly distributes the pressure from my hand over the surface and I don't make a bunch of grooves in it with my fingers. So I'm just going to take and wet the hood down just like that. And I'll just start sanding it with the sandpaper. Now, with this thing being pitted up here, guys, it's probably going to take a little bit more time to get this down smooth. Once I start feeling the hood smooth out under the sandpaper, then I'll go ahead and stop, and then I can step up to the next grit. So now you can see why I covered the engine, because this makes a mess. You get all that white slurry on there. The plastic is injection molded in the color of the hood, so there's really no chance of rubbing through any paint here, unlike a car where you might rub through the clear coat or something like that. So one of the keys here, guys, is just to only sand it until basically you feel it smooth out under the sandpaper. And once you've got to that point, then it'll be time to move on to the next grit. This is taking a little longer here because of that pitting. Once I get this smoothed out, I'll go ahead and rinse it off, dry it off, and look to make sure that those pits are gone. Yeah, I think that did it. Okay, I can feel it smooth it out real good under here. Now, I don't know if you notice how the color has changed on that plastic. And that's because I'm actually abrading some of those stains and whatever else is in there. I'm actually abrading that out of the hood. Oh yeah, that's smooth. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and step up to 1200. All I'm going to use this 1200 for is to just remove the scratches that were left in the hood by the 800 grit. So if you're wondering how long this is going to take, this is probably somewhere around a 2 to 2.5 hour process to wet sand this entire hood. And then the remaining process is probably about another couple hours. Oh yeah.
You brought here flavor
I'm out here slaving away. Mr. Big Time Amazon Delivery Man, what are you doing? Right on.
Right by your house when I was about halfway through my route.
Well, you know,
if
you'd been here like, I don't know, was it last week, something like that? Friday? Yeah, Friday last week. I had a new tire brought in for this mower here.
You got a what?
A new tire, back tire over there for this mower.
Are we filming?
Yep, we are filming. All right, so I can see here that the 800 grit sanding scratches are out. It's definitely a lot smoother. The pitting is now absolutely gone. Let me show you guys something here. If you look real close, you can you see that color change? That's the one benefit to doing this process, is all of them stains and stuff that are on the top surface that are embedded in the top, that stuff will all eventually come out of there. Remember, I'm only gone to like 2 processes up to here. However, I haven't done any here. You can see how tan that is. You can see how white that is. And then if you look over here, you can see that the original color has come back. All right, guys, so I went ahead and moved on. We're now at the 2000 grit stage. So if you look, you can see that it has a really dull shine now, but the most important thing is all of that pitting is gone, and it isn't as brown as what it was. It's actually come back mostly to its original color. My LGTX1054 decal is gone, and as I was doing this side, the decal started to lift, so I thought to myself, I probably better get it off there or risk damaging it. So I was able to get it peeled off just fine. It didn't come apart or anything like that. I'll just have to stick it back on there. And then after I got done with the 2000 grit part, I went ahead and washed the whole thing, because with the 2500, you know, I don't want a bunch of dirt getting in between the hood and the sandpaper. That dirt could when it gets between the sandpaper and the hood, it could lead to a deep scratch, and then I'm going to have to start over with the 1200 grit. Oh, and there's one more thing here too. If you look right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but you see them black spots right there? That's from where the garden hose was dragging over the hood. And I really don't want that to happen. So when I do the 2500 grit, I'm going to use my 2-liter jug. I'll just fill it with water and use that as I wet sand the rest of it. Once I got to the 2000 grit stage, it took about half the time to get the 1200 grit scratches out of there than it did for me to wet sand those pits out. And the key, the point I'm trying to make here is, when you step up to your grit, to your next grit, which in this case was 2000, it's not going to take you anywhere near as long to get those 1200 grit scratches out of there, because the hood, the surface, the substrate is actually nice and smooth. Then all we have to do is just get the 1200 scratches out with the 2000, and then we're good to go. So the point in time at which I knew that I was done with the 2000 is after I sanded on it for just a little bit. It felt really, really slick. I mean, it was just super slippery. And once I got to that point, that's when I stopped. I'm going to hit this with the 2500, so this should slick up and get sanded out just about like that. Yep, I'm just about done with this up here now. That slicked up quick. I felt a piece of something creep up underneath the sandpaper between it and the hood. And if you feel that happen, just shoot some water on it, rinse it off from there, go back to it. And you'll definitely feel the difference once you've got those heavier grade scratches out of there. That's done right there. So guys, I'm gonna finish this up, and then I'll bring you back when it's all done here, and we'll take a final look. All right, so there it is after 2500 grit wet dry sanding. And so, you look, you can see it's actually just a little bit more shiny. Color is much better too, guys. there's already a big difference. It definitely looks a lot better. Okay, so now that it's all wet sanded down, how are we going to get it back to a shine from being this slightly dull right here? Well, what I'm going to use is a little bit of this 3M medium duty rubbing compound right here, and I'm going to compound the entire hood. At any rate, if you want to use a machine on this, you can use something like a rotary buffer, kind of like this one right here. Unfortunately mine, it's a Harbor Freight cheapie, guys, and the speed control doesn't allow me to get this thing slow enough to minimize the chance of burning this plastic. Now this isn't anything like urethane clear coat on a car. This plastic is a heck of a lot softer, and it would be super easy to overheat that plastic and burn it with this buffer. If that happens, wherever you burnt it, most likely you wind up burning them on a corner or on an edge like that. You could take your sandpaper, 1200, 2000, 2500, and then just re-wet sand that area where you burnt it. But I would prefer not to go and do double work. So I really think that the preferred method to compound this back out would be more like with an orbital polisher, because it doesn't develop as much heat on the plastic. At any rate, I don't have one of those. So I've decided to go ahead and try to compound this out by hand, and we'll see how long it takes. But this way is going to take a lot longer, but I really don't want to burn this plastic, so I'm kind of thinking it's the best way to go. I'll just take a little bit of the compound here, drizzle some onto the hood. Let's rub it in and we'll see what happens. Still a heck of a lot of scratches in that thing. So the goal here is super light pressure and just let the buffer do the work. No, that's definitely better. Definitely quicker anyways. That looks pretty good right there. Okay. I'm using a little more of this than what I would normally to kind of help to maybe keep it lubricated and keep it cool while I'm buffing it. Did I burn it? Nope, I got lucky. How are we looking? Still have sanding scratches all up in here, all up in here. So hit it again. Every single time I hit this thing with this buffer, I cringe because I know what the consequences could be. Tell you what I think I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put some water in this water bottle. There it is. I'm gonna use that to try to help me here. What I'm thinking is that pad is gonna get clogged with compound. I'm thinking if I toss some water on this, that maybe I can use some of that compound that's stuck to the pad. Maybe use that to help finish it up. Okay. Yeah, that's actually, that water's helped a little bit. So let's and it's looking a lot better. All right. So far, so good. Okay. Guys, you see this spot right here, and that buffer's not really going to do a good job of getting in there, so I'm not going to push it. I'll just compound that by hand. A small area like that, who cares? I think I'll just put a little water out that and use the compound that's still on the pad. I can still see a couple areas where I burnt it yesterday, but you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. And if I were in Canada, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. You know what, guys? I'm thinking that's going to be good enough for the girls I go with. So now you guys have an idea of how to get this thing polished out and get that shine back in there. And so I'm not going to show you the whole thing, guys, because I don't want this video to be like 7 hours or something like that. So I'll go ahead, get the rest of this polished up. Where that decal is right there, I'm going to be super careful in that area. I'm just going to lightly buff over the top of it and not use a lot of pressure, just to kind of clean it up, and that's it, guys. So, all right, I'll get this thing finished up, and we'll take a look at it when I'm done. All right, guys, look at that. It's all polished up. Let's take a look at it here. So I wound up polishing it with compound twice, and then using, taking the water from the water bottle, putting it directly onto the buffing pad, and then hitting it one more time. And then after all that was said and done, I went ahead and put some more compound on that little pad, and then did it one last time manually. I'd say that's looking about 100% better, guys. I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know how in the world I managed to not burn this plastic anywhere, especially with that big old country-sized buffer over there. If you look real closely right here, you can see where I burned it yesterday. And that's just why I wasn't really thrilled about using that that buffer over there. They make smaller buffers, would have been a better alternative had I had one. But you know something? Just had to adjust my technique. I'd say that came out just fine. I think I'm gonna call it a night, and we'll do the final step on this hood tomorrow morning. Then after we're done with that, we'll come over here and we'll fix up these pieces that go on it. We'll have this finished up tomorrow, pretty lickety split in just about no time. Okay, so it's the next day here at Slick Rides Garage, and we're getting ready to do the final step here on this hood. Now guys, if you look at it, now the lighting's a little bit better. Boy, this thing really did turn out nice. But now that we've compounded it, we're going to have to take the next step, and that is to protect it. And I am going to do that with some Meguiar's Next Generation Tech Wax. Really like this stuff, guys. So I'm just going to put it on this pad right here, and a little bit of this goes a long way. We don't need a heck of a lot. At any rate, so let's get some on here and let's get this hood protected. Let's put a little on the pad like that. Don't need a heck of a lot. Just kind of fold that into the pad like that, and then we'll just wipe it on. Boy, is that thing smooth. Man, I can't believe how smooth this is. All right. We'll go over all of the areas that I compounded. I'll toss a little bit more on here. So now that this is all polished up and looking good, from this point in time forward, at least after I get this wax on it here, all I should have to do is like wash and wax the hood or the whole mower every spring and fall, and this shine here should pretty well stay. Should stay just fine. You know, I've seen some YouTube videos, and people will take and use like automatic transmission fluid or tire shine, something like that, to get these things to shine up. Thing of it is that's only temporary. As long as I maintain this to keep it clean, this shine should last one heck of a long time. So okay. All right, so I think we'll call that good. So we're gonna have to wait about 5 minutes before we wipe this off. Let that wax get on there. I'll probably wait about 10, and then we'll wipe it off, and we'll go over it and see what it looks like, the final product. So when we're wiping off the wax, guys, on this soft plastic, we want to use a soft cloth. Something like a microfiber is just fine. And I'll wipe it on one side of the towel, and then I'll flip the towel and just wipe it off again. Second time. All right. And that's it, guys. Guys, I gotta tell you what, that thing turned out excellent. Very cool. So the hood is done. She's all waxed up. Oh, I'm gonna tell you what, that is a huge, huge difference compared to what we had or what we started with. At any rate, so the next thing now is to get this stuff cleaned up. And if you remember on the video last year where I did the first mow with this mower, I told you guys I was going to show you how to clean up these clear lenses. And guess what? We're going to do that today. Okay, so first things first, we have to get these headlights out of here, or the headlight lenses out. And they just snap on. There's a little hook, a hook and tab right here. There's another hook and tab right back here. And then there's one right down here. We gotta be super careful because this plastic can be brittle and it can crack. Maybe that'll do it. There we go. And it's like brain surgery almost. Okay. Come on, pole smoker. There you go. There we go. Boy. That one will snap back in down low. There we go. And then that other side right there just kind of slides out. Did you see that? Yeah, you probably could see that. Okay. There we go. Okay, that's one. Just trying to be super careful here so I don't break nothing. And there we go. And the headlight liner. I'm glad I only have to do this once. Holy crap. What an absolute pain in the 855. Alright, so now with this thing out of here, I'm going to use some mean green. I'm going to spray the whole surface down with mean green, hit it with a scrub brush, and then I'll take it outside and wash it down. Well, I said I was going to spray it down, but I think instead of that, I'm just going to dip the scrub brush in the cleaner here. That sit for a few minutes to soak, and I'll take it and rinse it off, and then we'll dry it and bring it back here. We'll show you what we came up with. Okay, so I was going to show you guys a method on how to get this black plastic to actually go back to black and shine on its own without putting any sort of goop on top of it. And that process involves a heat gun. And what you do, you put your heat gun on low and you slowly start working it across the plastic until you start to see that shininess come back. And once you get an area done, you just keep moving, you keep on going across it, and this will it'll kind of like, I don't know, it'll realign the molecules in the plastic and it'll just bring it right back to new. Unfortunately, check this out. The switch in my heat gun is broken, kind of like half the other stuff around here. So maybe one of these days I'll get to fixing it. So in the alternative, I'm going to do something that I really don't want to do, and that is I'm going to spray it down with a tire shine product, spray it all down, wipe it in, and stick it back on the mower. Yeah, I really didn't want to do it this way, but guess what? Sometimes you just don't get what you want. And I guess today is one of those days for me. So we'll spray it down with the tire shine. Spray a little bit on the pad, and then wipe it in. Well, there it is. I'm going to let this sit here for a few minutes and kind of soak in, and then we'll stick it back on the mower. We'll take this bad boy, slide it right back in here. Okay, so now that it's kind of initially snapped into place, I'm going to grab a towel here and just kind of wipe off the excess. Now that it's stable, right, we'll go ahead and screw it down. Okay, so there are 4 cap screws that hold this thing on. They're all a coarse thread plastic type screw. Let me see if I can get that to focus. 2 of them don't have a washer, and 2 of them do. Here's the other one. Focus. There we go. And so the ones that have the washer go next to the headlights here, and then there's another one over here that you really can't see, and then the 2 without the washer, those go on the bottom. So I kind of just lined it up there, get it started by hand, and I'm lining up the witness marks on the mounting tab to this bracket so it will go back in the same position. Don't need to use a lot of torque because it is possible to crack the mounting holes on the grill. I'm just going to wrap my hand around the headlight hole and pull a little bit to make sure that it's all the way seated, and then attach the screw. Okay. And for a schlep job, that doesn't look too bad. And the next item up for cleaning is going to be these side grills. Same story, guys. Take the cleaner. I'm just using a smaller brush here. Alright, I'm going to go wash this off, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, so there it is. Washed, dried. I already hit it with the schlep shine. And the cool thing about these is all you have to do is stick them in here and they just snap right into place. Just like that. Actually looks pretty good for a schlep job. I'm going to do the other side grill the same way. I'm not going to show that to you, and then we'll work on those headlight lenses. Okay, so the other side grill is put in on the left side. Next thing I'm going to do is just take these reflector sheets here and just wipe them off. This thing right here kind of stained up a little bit. Here's the pad with the next generation tech wax on it. Let's put some of that on here. See if we can get some of that to rub off. That really looks like crap. The tech wax has petroleum distillates in it, which will kind of help to clean stuff up a little. Have to tell you what, that wax actually did a really good job of cleaning this. Not too bad. I like that a lot. I'll show you this here too. You see those little hooks? There's one right here and there's one right here. Those hook together like that. As you can see, those things are nice and foggy. See? That right there is a big improvement. Just being able to cover up my ugly mug. Okay, so I'm going to take my sandpaper, we'll stick it in a bucket of water there, stick them in a bucket of water, dip the headlight down into the water, and now So we're going to start by just wet sanding the surface of the lens. I'm actually starting with 800 here, guys. It's not going to get all of those scratches out, but I would like to try to diminish their appearance. And it's such a small surface area that I'm working on here. Really isn't going to take all that long to get this squared away. Wow, those scratches are coming out better than I thought they would. Yeah. Let's keep going. By golly, a lot of those scratches have come out. That's really surprising. I didn't think that would happen. Cool. And there it is. I think I'll stop right there. I'm gonna go blow this dry, guys, and we'll take a look at what it looks like when it's dry. Okay, so there it is after a blow job. It's all scuffed up. You see here on the inside, there's a few scratches in there too, and that's mainly from my hands, but I'm not worried about that. We'll take care of that. So the next one is going to be 1200. Where is my 1200 piece? There it is. Okay. All right. So now all I'm going to do with 1200 is just remove the 800 grit scratches. So after the 1200, it's looking a little bit smoother. I'm not going to blow that off. Let's step up to the 2 grand. All right. So that'll do it for the 2000. Last stop, 2500. So I'm going to stop right there, dip it, and kind of rinse it off a little bit there. Let me blow this thing dry and you can take a look at it. Here is the one that I just got done wet sanding and wet sanding, and you can see that even with it being scuffed up with the 2500 grit still, it's actually, well, it's actually clearer. You can see my ugly mug through. Now look at the difference between that one and this one right here. Yeah, it's shiny, but look, there's no blue on that. It kind of has a brownish appearance going on across the entire lens. Alright, so if you've watched my videos for a while, you probably already know what the next step is. Now, I've done a similar procedure to this with a couple of my previous videos. One is the 1997 Ford F-150 instrument cluster swap, and the other one was on a 1988 GMC 1-ton instrument cluster restoration, or sprucing up, whatever you want to call it. So you probably already know what I'm getting ready to reach for, and if you guessed purple metal polish, you are 100% correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub this down with purple polish. I'm going to use a applicator pad here, and I'll probably do it with this twice, and then after that we're going to hit it with the medium duty rubbing compound with its own applicator pad right there, and then we'll throw a coat of wax on it, kind of like we did with that hood over there. So let's grab some purple metal polish here. Now here's another thing, guys. If you don't have this purple metal polish, it's okay. You can also use Brasso. If you look on the label on a Brasso container, it says you can use it to polish plastic watch bezels. And these bezels, or these headlight lenses, are really not that dissimilar from those watch bezels. And this purple metal polish will get these back down to a nice clear shine, usually in not too much time. And it still has a haze to it, but it's getting cleaner. Put a little more on it. And I'm basically just using circular strokes and medium pressure on this. Alright, let's wipe it down. See where we're at. Oh yeah, that's definitely a lot better. There's that. Okay. There we go. Oh yeah. So I was noticing that this also has some defects on the inside of the lens, so I'll go ahead and hit the inside of it with purple metal polish as well. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Pretty good. I'm going to I'll hit this inside one more time, and if you use the purple metal polish on both sides, then you're going to wind up having to use the 3M rubbing compound on both sides as well. This right here has a little bit more of a grit in it, and so it will it'll leave some fine scratches in it, and those fine scratches will get taken care of with that 3M medium duty rubbing compound. There we go. Tell you what, that looks pretty good. Hi. How the screaming heck are you? Alright, so there we go. So, like I said, the purple power will leave some fine scratches in there, because I ain't got no good English, it has a little more aggressive grit in it. So now we're going to hit it with the medium duty rubbing compound. Slip some on there like that, and let's go. Okay. Yeah, that's looking good. So there it is. And if you want to know what kind of a job you did, if you want to make sure you got everything, then just look through it towards a well-lit area and you'll see every scratch that's left in it. This still has a few in it, guys, but like I said, it's not a 1,000-point show car. So the last item is our Meguiar's Next Generation Tech Wax 2.0. I'll rub this stuff in here, and then when I'm done, probably let it sit for about 5 minutes or so. Alright, so the wax is wiped off. And there we go. There's still a few scratches in it. I really don't care. But let me tell you something, that looks a heck of a lot better than what it ever did. I don't even know if it looked that good when it was new. Actually, it probably did. Look at that. That turned out really nice. Okay, so I'm going to snap this back on the mower. I'm going to do the other lens, get it squared away, and then we'll take a look at the final product. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, so here it is. All finished up, polished up, looking nice. Thought I'd show you how to throw these in real quick. Make sure I've got all of the fingerprints and stuff off the inside of it. So the way this goes in, have this tab on the side right there. Just engage that into the tab first. Then make sure that your reflector sheet inside is on top of the lock tab that's in here, or the snap-in tab, and then just snap it in. And it's a done deal. And we'll give this one final wipe down here. All right, there we go. Looking good. Let's take a look at the final product. All right, so there it is. All put back together, all looking good. Let's get up on this thing pretty close here. Look at that. Yeah, it turned out really nice. Those headlights, look, they look so much better. I'm gonna have to get new bulbs for the headlights because both of these wound up burning out. Not a big deal. And there we go. Okay, there it is. So, guys, this is definitely one heck of a lot of work to get this thing cleaned up and looking nice like that. I think that's looking pretty good. Really happy with how that turned out. Definitely looks a lot better. So now we've got a few more projects to do on this. I got that nice clean hood, but that platform right there, or whatever you call it, I don't even know what you call this stinking thing. It's all dirty and scratched and scuffed and everything like that. So that'll be my next item to clean up, but I'm gonna wait on that because as it turns out, the right side axle shaft seal is leaking, and I took a look at it, and it's because the outer bushing inside of the transaxle housing is pretty significantly worn. As a matter of fact, when you have it sitting on the ground, there's about a 1 millimeter gap between the seal and the axle shaft itself. So I'm gonna have to pull the transaxle out of it, open it up, try to figure out what's going on, if the axle shaft is bent or if there's a gear in there not straight or something not being straight, but it should definitely not be like that. So in order to help facilitate removal of the transaxle, being able to get to everything, I plan on removing this platform right here. So I'll pull the transaxle, find out what parts I need, order the parts, and then I'll go ahead and get this thing cleaned up right here. So at any rate, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I had a lot of fun making it. It's something I've been wanting to do, guys, to kind of help improve the looks of the tractor. All chalky and dull looking, guys. I just didn't like that. It's not for me. But at any rate, I appreciate you watching. Now, before I let you guys go, do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up on the video, guys. I did put a lot of hard work into this thing. So if you like it, please give me a thumbs up. Also, about 90% of the people who watch my content aren't subscribing. So while you're here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when new content drops here on Slick Rides Garage. And also, go down into the comments section if you have any questions, or if you just want to tell me what you think of the process, whatever the case may be, do so in the comments, and I definitely appreciate it. All right, guys, well, that's going to do it for this time here on Slick Rides Garage. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll see you next time. Later.